p.m. New Carlisle City Council, Monday, April 21st, 2014. Will now come to order. We have a call to order, please. Roll call.
Mayor McLaughlin.
Here.
Mr. McIntyre.
Here.
Mr. Zambach.
Present.
Mr. Reynolds.
Here.
Mr. Traybach.
Here.
Mr. Michelauer.
Here.
All present.
Thank you, sir. Before we go any farther, if you have a cell phone, please either turn it off, put it on vibrate, one or the other, so we don't interrupt the meeting, please, if you would. And again, all the students, we need you to put your name and the date, and that it's a council meeting on your sheet that you have that you want us to sign later, if you would, please. Now, we're going to go to the invocation of Pastor Jamie Lighty of the McHenry United Methodist Church. Everybody stand, please.
Will you bow your heads, please? Almighty God, we thank you for this beautiful day. Indeed, the whole world is filled with thy glory, and for the majesty of all creation, and for the richness of our land, and the greatness of our country, and for this community that we love so much. We thank thee, O Lord, for we know it is by your hand all has been provided. Father, tonight I lift up to you these leaders, chosen by the people, assembled for the common good, and empowered only to serve. May you surround them with your love, and may your Spirit sustain them. I pray that you will give them strength and give them a heart that seeks your righteousness. Make them wise and worthy of the responsibility which they have sought and have been given. So, Heavenly Father, with human humility, we ask that your presence be with us, your blessing be upon us, and all that we do and all that we stand for be in accordance with your divine will. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pastor Lighty, thank you for that. If you'll join us now in the Pledge of Allegiance. We'll use the flag in the back, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. May I have action on the minutes of the regular meeting, April the 7th, 2014, please?
So moved.
Second. Two of them down. Mr. Zambach and Mr. Evans. We're just a little bit They were quick. Any discussion on the minutes? You call for the vote, sir?
Mr. Rick Lowry.
Yes.
Mr. Traybach.
Yes.
Mr. Michelauer.
Yes.
Mayor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre.
Yes.
Mr. Zambach.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Passed 7-0.
Thank you. Okay, communications. We have any communications this evening? Thank you. We have city manager's report? We do have a few of those.
Okay, tonight we're going to start with our finance discussion, and I'd like to welcome Mrs. Harris tonight for her first council meeting.
I'd just like to interrupt for one moment. We've changed, any of you here that would like to speak tonight from the public, we have changed how we've done this in the past. And now what we're doing is we're giving the city manager's report, and then if there's anything in her report that you would like to question, that's available to you at that point. So that's why we're going forward with the city manager's report. I'm sorry, please go ahead.
We're going to let Mrs. Harris go over her report.
Thank you, Mrs. Jones. And my first report to council is basically, I think, the same in line that you're used to. There are a few pages that are different, so I'll read the cover sheet with the summary, and then if there's any questions that I can go over, I'd be glad to, and anything that I need to get back with you on, I will as soon as possible. The March 2014 total revenue brought in was $710,086.97. Total expenditures for March was $338,108.07. Year-to-date revenue is $1,311,993.65. Your year-to-date total expenditure so far is $997,224.15. For March, our tax receipts were $66,449.84, a small increase from previous, this time last year. And your year-to-date tax receipts are $245,565.64, and again, a little bit of an increase from this time last year. Bank balances all combined, $1,719,430.42 at the end of March. On the report, your first sheet should be a month-to-date fund report. These figures should be pretty close to I believe the other report that you were getting has beginning balances, month-to-date receipts, expenditures, what we have encumbered and what our ending balance is. The next one, I'm not sure if you had, is the same format on the report, but it is our year-to-date total. And you want to kind of keep track on that. Next page, I gave you, the top half is a month-to-date bank report. Again, what we deposited in each of the banks and what was withdrawn in our ending balance. And the bottom page is our year-to-date. Next sheet has the breakdown of the city income tax and a comparison to last year. I believe that's a duplicate report that you were receiving. And then last is my check register. However, I was not able to format the description until earlier today. I have some of those, so anyone interested in the description of the checks, I'll get that to you, but I will have them for everyone by next council meeting also.
Thank you.
Is there any
Council, any questions? Anyone? I just have one comment. We throw this figure out at the $1,719,430,000 that we have. Basically, people need to know that that's already spoken for. You know, it sounds like we have money available. We don't. It's like this is things that have already, we basically have spent it already, or close to it, if you know what I'm saying. That's something that people need to know. It sounds like when we put that figure out that we have a lot of money in the bank, and we do, but it's already been allotted for things that are going on in the city at that point.
Correct. And would you like an adjustment, like we do have a lot of bonds, we have a lot of debt that comes up different times a year,
Right.
and we have to obligate and hold that to make sure that we make our obligations. Would you like that included, or would you?
That might be something good to let people know that, you know, in the future, I'm saying, we could maybe take that off, because we got an update before Mr. Sexton left, you know, on all the debts of the city, and it's quite a bit more. You know, I'd asked for that, and all council is aware of that now. It just, again, when we throw that figure out there and people hear that, they think, well, the city's in good stead, and we are. We're in the black, but yet not anywhere near this type of figure. Okay? Appreciate it. Anybody? Yeah, yes.
I had one question. I think Mr. Kiko could probably answer this one. Line 420 is a Smith Park improvement project, and it's negative $26K. Is that, I'm guessing that's the tennis courts?
Yeah, that's the grant that Kim and I had worked on for the tennis court project. We've already expended to do the project. We're awaiting reimbursement. Actually, I'm working on the paperwork to get the reimbursement.
Okay, so we are getting reimbursed.
About 24,000 of it.
Okay, and then the other 2,000 was just the labor, it was in kind,
Local
I think is the
in-kind
term.
purchases that we've done.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre. Anyone else? Any questions? Thank you so much for your report.
Well,
And-
I have
I'm sorry, Mr. Reynolds.
No, it's fine. On line 505 on the month-to-date fund report, we have negative 27,000 in the pool, and in the pool fund, like, what are we planning to do to fix that? And I'm assuming we're going to put money in shortly, correct, to start up the pool?
And that I'm looking at, I'm going to be getting with the auditor's office. That started out the beginning of the year with that negative, and until I understand why. and
Oh, yeah, well, you're
where the
new, so,
transfer is
yeah.
going to come, then hopefully we'll have that adjusted back correctly.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, continuing then with our service discussion. Mr. Kitco, did you have anything this evening?
I just have a couple items. Thank you, Mrs. Jones. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and members of our community. First thing, the crossing light that we are waiting on, we do The paperwork is up in Columbus. Any day I should receive authorization to purchase. Everything's set. As Ms. Jones and I have noted that there was some miscommunication on paperwork and the way we were supposed to do things. That is done. So we're just awaiting. It should be any day. Durapatching, the old section is basically complete. It should be finished up in the morning, and then they'll move on to the next session, or next section. So we're about 25% done with the town, and we're just gearing up for other projects. The pool obviously is going to be coming up, keeping Durapatching going, and then just try to keep our parks and the city looking nice for the summer.
Council, questions? Mr. McIntyre.
Mr. Kicko, I'm going to pick on you again. Two things. The first question is, a few weeks ago, maybe about a month ago, we got an email from a resident about graffiti in some of the parks, and I've seen it both here in this park and also some of the other ones around town. And I know I spoke with Ms. Jones about this. We're sort of waiting for winter to leave us, and then we could get to that. So my first question was, what's the protocol for removing this graffiti or spray paint or kids writing stuff with markers on either slides or the bike path?
As time permits, we get out there quickly, especially if the words are not appropriate, we'll hit those. But as Councilman Lowry, him and his wife and them had went out and done Willowwood Park actually for us, and we thank them because they went out on during the daytime and we were busy doing other things. But, we'll typically hit it as soon as we see it, but just using a chemical of some sort and getting it on.
So if someone were to see that and they contact you, they could say, I'm willing to clean it myself. Can I do that? Would they be allowed to, or is it insurance? They can do that?
I've never seen a problem with it. I don't know.
We've never had a problem with volunteers in the past to be able to
No.
do that, so I don't know why. it would
That's
be.
the county's trailer, right?
Oh, no, that would be like someone coming into the park, seeing graffiti, and they clean it off themselves.
As long as they're not using city equipment,
City
stuff like
chemicals.
that,
Okay.
not assuming, or we're not assuming any liability.
Right. Thank you.
Then, did you have a follow-up question to
Yeah,
that?
have we talked to the county sheriff's office? I read in the Springfield paper, they were going around with Enid and Mad River Township and cleaning up their parks with some sort of machine to clean off the graffiti.
The machine used to belong to Clark County, however, I think it belongs to the city of Springfield now, and I don't know the protocol on how that works. We have used it for concrete, and then our outdoor restroom, which is stone, we have used it, and a little bit on our tables, but for anything other than that, we haven't really gotten it, because most of the time it's just as easy for us to use some of these pretty good chemicals, and it wipes off.
Yeah.
Or restain it.
What about like on the bike trail? Because if you go running, I go running quite a bit, you see like these massive red graffiti next to the new shelter house out there. And,
I will have to check those. Have we covered them up? Or they ones where we've kind of
not
blocked
since
out?
maybe Wednesday of last week was my last
Yeah, we
run.
probably didn't get to them. No, we'll check those out.
And then, if I could, my second question is, my son and I like to look for creatures out here in the woods, just right off the bike path. And we go down there, and I know that's the stormwater area where everything goes through. But there's trash, just all sorts of manner of trash, anything you could think of that's laying out in the wetlands area. And I know we got dinged, or they're talking about some of the chemicals or lack thereof or whatever it is in the Honey Creek, and because it's a conservancy area, we need to maintain it. And I was wondering if, two parts to this, would we get in any trouble because of the trash that's laying in the woods here? And also, do we have a method to clean that up? I know we have a community cleanup day. Do we clean that up, or is that something we don't usually do because it's stormwater?
Oh, no. First of all, we get it when we get a chance. When we get community service, they do it. Cleanup day, they do it. So it's multiple times. We try to keep at it. Because it is storm, that storm was there before the bike trail went in, so that was always going there since the Willowwick plat was built. That was the outfall for all the storm for the Willowwick and some in the Zimmerman area.
Yeah, I know it's always sort of been that way. And you get down there and the water's sort of an odd oily color, and there's all sorts of cans and stuff everywhere. So it's probably something that you can't just, will away by cleaning it up. It's going to happen.
We just pick up the material, the cans, bars, or bottles, paper, but anything that's like of a liquid, we don't have to do anything with that.
Okay, thank you.
Finish. Mr. Hall.
Mr. Kitco, the water main break that was on Gerald, is that the right street, Gerald, over there right off of Lake? It goes over to...
I'm thinking, because we've had quite a few.
It still needs patched. Do you know when they're gonna get to that?
The plants just opened up and they ran through this type of mix that we obviously don't use. Usually right around May 1 is when we get the good asphalt.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else, council? Any other questions? Could you just give us an update on CVS? Of course, everyone goes by there and sees it. I know they're planning lots of pipe and so forth.
The sewer relocation is complete. We completed that on Friday with the tie-in. Any homes that were tied into that lateral on the west side of that alley, they're completed. And then they got about half of their storm sewer installed today. So, and in the meantime of them doing that, the dozer operators in putting the dirt for where they'll dig out for the footers and stuff. So I haven't heard of a date when they're going to go ahead and lay footers, but I'm sure it's probably within the next couple of weeks. It's got to be coming pretty close.
So they feel like they're moving ahead pretty rapidly now then?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And I do have one more item. I had mentioned to council and the public that we were going to redo some of Church Street by Jeff's Automotive and a piece on Hemlock for starters. That was going to happen at the beginning of May. However, the way we have the levy funds to do that, but there wasn't enough money appropriated at the budget passing for this amount. So we're coming to the council with an ordinance. It'll be like June, within the first week or two of June, when we'll be able to make that project happen. So we're just behind because we have to appropriate more money. So I just wanted to let you know that's what's going to be the delay. Not anything that we had done, just nature of the business.
I'd heard that you're also trying to get a grant to possibly do that street on up to Lake. Is that something you're working on?
We are working on a TIP application, which is due in the first week of August, to reconstruct Church Street, which will be and what the big thing is the new water main, new service. Everybody will be on new services, so we don't have to see any more cross cuts in them. The estimate right now is running around $2 million, and we're looking at that'll be an 80% federal project and 20% local. And for that local, we're going to try to get that all covered with OPWC funds.
Great. Thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir, Mr. Evans.
To appropriate funds so we don't have to wait so long, could you do an emergency ordinance? Is that something that's possible, right? An emergency ordinance so that we don't have to wait till June to get the road fixed? Because I mean, I drive down it every day and it's pretty bad.
Well, we had dirt patched it to make it smooth enough, but we did actually discuss it, and just it wasn't of the emergency caliber. Is
All right.
kind of what we came up with.
It's much better than it was, that's for sure.
I agree. It's 10 million times better than it was.
I fell apart. That's what, everybody finished?
That's it.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
And I wanted to point out, people might not know that all that trash you were talking about doesn't just happen to come there. It's people throwing trash in their storm sewers. Anything that they throw in their storm sewers, whether it be a pop can or they change the car oil and dump it down there, that all washes out to Brubaker Park.
Yep.
So that is all 100% a result of people littering into the storm sewers. So just to make you aware of that.
It's not from the path users.
Right, it's not from the path at all, it's from people just littering, so, to make you more aware of that. Then we'll continue with the planning and zoning discussion. Mr. Bridge?
Thank you, City Manager Jones. Mr. Mayor, members of council, members of the public, I'd like to share with you the activity report for the planning department for March 2014. We had 3 complaints come in the office that brings our year-to-date total up to 8. Issued 15 yellow tags and flash verbal warnings, brings our year-to-date up to 30. 0 violations for the month, year-to-date up to 3. We have not performed any property abatements for the month or the year. We did see a drastic spike in zoning permit applications this month, 10, bringing our year-to-date total up to 14. Compliance rates, both sets of monthly compliance rates are both at 100%. Year-to-dates are 90% for yellow tags of violations, and then 100% violations to abatements. Current work got on. Members of council, you'll see that I have compiled a rental statistic sheet for everyone to view. The housing data was collected from the Clark County Auditor's website using the neighborhood tool. It was very time intensive, but however, we do got some accurate results. You see a little note down there that says ACS data does not detail the complete picture. ACS data is American Community Survey data. However, when I looked at those the first time, it looks like they had computed the data for postal zip code in New Carlisle and not city limits in New Carlisle. So I decided to do this again. Just to give you an idea of what kind of rental statistics we are looking at for the city, we have 1,975 single-family homes in our town. Out of those, 100 1,975, 473 are renters. So that's a 23.9% of single-family homes in the city that are available for rent. I took it a step further, and I wanted to look at multifamily homes as well. You see under bullet point C that 16.8% of all housing in New Carlisle is multifamily. When we put all those three together, we're looking at 36.8% rental versus owner occupied in the city. The main thing that we need to be focusing on right here is B, which is the single family homes. Those are meant to be owner occupied, not rented, whereas multifamily homes are obviously meant to be rented. So the 23.9% is what we need to focus on. Probably about average for what we got going here as far as the number of houses and our average income and stuff like that. So I wasn't too shocked with those results. However, it is good to see in writing what exactly that we do have. Moving on down the current work list, community yard sale. The planning efforts will begin the week of May 5th. It's still tentative date of July 19th, 2014. So basically, for the students who have not been here before, I am looking to get a citywide yard sale all at once. Instead of having like 50 million over the summer, different points of time. I think it'd be a great idea if everybody had one at one point in time. We can bring in people from the region. They can come in our town, buy some stuff, and hopefully visit our downtown. New Carlisle is open for business. We do have a few privately owned parcels here in the city that are prime locations to start your business. If you'd like some more information, please contact me, Randy Bridge, at the office, 845-9492. Farmers Market, tentative date, June 21st, 2014. It will end around September 27th, 2014. We're hoping to piggyback off last year's market to make it a little more successful. We do have a few produce vendors that have already signed up, so that's one step in the right direction that we differed from last year, so we're getting pretty excited about that. Another thing I'm looking to do is Community Reinvestment Area Program. Basically what that is, it's a tax exemption program benefiting property owners who renovate existing or construct new buildings in areas where revitalization has been discouraged. There are many stipulations regarding the program, so I need to study it in detail to see if it can be successful in New Carlisle. If we do have people wanting to do that, it is something that I definitely think that we should do. We really want to start looking at our downtown area and getting that classified first, and then taking that to our residential streets afterwards. Sidewalk repair replacement program. We got the data collected. So far, 393 panels have been identified as having structural issues. 159 of those 393 are unsafe or hazardous, and they need complete replacement. So basically, we took the total, which is 552 that have issues in the city, we divided those into two groups. One that just maybe has a crack, but it's still level, and then another one that is completely cracked, raised, and if you walk on it, you're going to trip. The ones we're going to focus on are those 159 that are deemed need complete replacement. As you can see, I have each zone broken down with a total of hazardous ones in each area. Right now, we're looking at the best practices to implement the program that are cost effective. What we're finding out now that when we implement this program, we're going to have to certified mail out to each property owner that has a sidewalk that has been deemed hazardous. So you're looking at $6.47 per mailing to get this information out to them. So right now, we're going to get this, the city manager and our law director here to find out what way we can best do this at the most cost-effective way. Vacant housing for the month is at 85. And then for members of the council, you may see that I've now started putting graphs on here. And that's just simply a way for you to visualize, opposed to just having numbers, the progress from month to month. As the summer months come on, those bars will definitely raise. So if you have any questions about that or anything that I can tell tonight in the report, I'd be happy to answer some questions.
Council, Mr. McIntyre.
Sir, I did have a question for you. With the Community Reinvestment Area Program coupled with the New Carlisle is open for business effort, which I know the mayor's been a big part of, I was wondering if you've got any positive feedback from that. I don't know if you can talk specifics, like such and such wants to open here, but basically I want to know if Google Fiber is coming to New Carlisle. So.
Probably not anytime soon.
Not anytime soon. But have you heard from people who may be interested in starting up businesses or anything yet, or is it too new?
Well, we've just been doing this for the past month, so the word's not really out yet.
Okay.
We did, I did just get notification, and I think it's okay to share with everybody. We are getting a Verizon store, and it's going to go up Howard's IGA in far right. They just submitted a scientific application. It's actually a reseller of Verizon Wireless, but the Verizon Wireless logo is blatantly displayed right there. So that was good news for us. So, but as far as anybody saying, hey, I want to build a brand new facility on a parcel in your town, haven't done anything yet.
Council, anyone else? Yes, Mr.
The one thing that's really dear, one of the things that's dear to my heart, and thank you, Randy.
Sure.
You know, it's a great report, you know, one of the best I've ever seen. The sidewalk repair, as
Sure.
you know, it's dear to my heart, you know. So, and we're going to be, hopefully, we'll be passing a resolution, you know, coming up here tonight. Are you going to have a list of contractors or anything that you could recommend, or that be able to help some of these?
Well, we're trying to figure out exactly how to best do this. We know the initial round of mailings right now, as it stands, is we're just going to let the citizens know that it's their responsibility to get fixed.
Right.
Quite honestly, we're going to see how many of them do that. Then with the second round of letters, then it's going to be more detailed.
Okay.
The city doesn't have the money to go out and do the work if we have to. You know, so right now we're just going to put it in the hands of the homeowners, see how many take it and do the work with it. I have drafted the first round of the initial letter. Per their Ohio Revised Code, from my understanding is, and I've also looked at other municipalities that have sent out similar letters, you have to give the homeowner the number of parcels and then the estimated cost to repair those. So I'm still waiting on estimates from a gentleman that Howie has contacted. So again, that first round of letters would just say, hey, it's your responsibility, these are the panels that have been identified, and this is your estimated cost. Wait, see how many people do the work. I think we had given them until August, because it is a quite lengthy project for them to do. And then once August comes around, we'll revisit it, and then, you know, we'll give them options.
If anybody wants to know, I did call them earlier for my house. So, you know, I'm getting my house in compliance. You know, so.
So I can knock you off that list over
Yeah,
at
knock me off
158 now.
at least 4.
Mr. Lowry. Mr. Bridge, what does it cost to remove and repair one panel? Have any idea?
We don't have the estimates back yet, so I can't give you a good estimate.
Okay.
I don't want to say it on record and it be pulled
Okay.
off.
Next question. You and I talked about this last fall. Garage sale signs on telephone poles, light poles. And I know that you personally went out and removed some of them. They've been there for 2 or 3 weeks once.
Sure.
And you supposedly was going to do something to correct that problem come this spring. Is that still in the works?
You know, I mean, it's really hard to come back, to be honest with you. I mean, you could pass, obviously there's already rules against that in our ordinances, and people still do it, you know. But I mean, that's one of the goals with the community yard sale, to have just one for everybody, so that you won't see a surplus of those signs. But it's going to be nearly impossible to keep them all, you know. But believe me, if I see them on a telephone pole, I'll rip them off. I think at one point in time last year, my whole back into my car was filled.
And you know, and that's good that you do that, but, and don't misunderstand, that's not what the city is paying you for. Understand? I mean, you know, your time is a lot more valuable than that, than if you're taking down garage sale signs. That was my whole point last year, that we need to do something about it, you know.
I can go up and I've returned garage sale signs before, people just don't care. I mean,
We have the ordinances that say they're only allowed to put them in their own yards, and so it's mostly an enforcement problem. It's not, I don't think, to change the ordinance, it's just, and all of our street department guys do the same thing. If they see them up, everybody rips them down. I mean, it's not just garage sale signs, there's one on a street light that I've seen for a roofing company that is not supposed to be there either, you know, so.
I think we need to look at that real seriously.
You mean to not allow the signs at all? or
No,
what?
to enforce the ordinance that is in place.
Well,
I mean,
that's-
if you keep taking them down for people, they're gonna keep
I
abusing
mean,
it.
falling short of sending somebody a ticket and putting them in the court, they're not gonna, people, I hate to say it like this, but yeah, I got a violation, big deal. I'm just gonna put one up again, because there's no repercussion,
Okay.
you know?
Thank you.
Anyone else? I was amazed to see, and thank you for doing it, on all the rental properties in New Carlisle. I was amazed at that figure, that there's that many, to be quite honest with you. 473, single family, that's amazing. Mr. Bridges, one quick question.
Sure.
On, as far as the sidewalks.
Yeah.
If the person does not have the money at that point to be able to do this, can we assess it on the property at that point? In other words, will we have a contractor that possibly can take care of some of these and then we assess the property? Is that possible?
It is possible. It is. But like I
That's
said,
still what we're developing.
we're still in
though.
the process of developing. That's why we want to do these initial round of letters to see how many people will take that stress off of the city. Once we have a complete number of, all right, we mailed out 159, 10 people complied, so now we got 149 addresses. That's just addresses. That's not total panels.
Right.
Right, there could be 4 at one address and 2 at another. Then we're going to have to set a budget. Most cities do this over a 10, 15-year period, and they do different zones. West Carrollton has a great one in place. Every newsletter they get, they have a section of maybe 6 or 7 streets. They're going to hit that particular year. So it's something that is very upfront cost if you have to pay for it yourself and you wait to get reimbursed. But like Rita said, we're looking for the best practices to do that. We have found out we do these first round of letters, see how many bite, take the stress off the city, then we have a better picture of what we need to budget for those remaining repairs.
I would think if we have people that want to have this done, if we have, say, 10 at one time that are willing to do it all at the same time, it'll save money, because to get a truck to come in, there's a minimum that you can get yards of cement for that truck to come in. So it would be nice if we could work with people to be able to do that. Would you not think? I mean, because there's a minimum price, to get cement in a truck coming in.
Right, we would have to do them all at one time. We wouldn't do like one at a time. It would be.
Right, I'm saying, to make it worthwhile for the
Right.
truck to come in, there'd be one cost. Yes, Mr.
And that's a great idea, but I have a question about the assessment. That would be the same as for
Grass cutting.
the yards. It may take you 10 years to collect that once you spend on it, and as Randy said, we don't have the money to do that.
Exactly. That's why we're trying to go so slow, because
Okay.
we can't stick our neck out and assess all these people, and then we have to pay it up front.
Right, and if they don't sell the house for 20 years, you're
Right,
stuck with it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's why we've been so slow in making sure we're doing this right and legally, because there's a lot of restrictions on it too, when you start to assess people's properties, and our budget is limited to be able to do that. So it's not as easy as it sounds.
Well, and I think
It's very
something
tough.
else, go ahead, I'm
It's
sorry.
very tough to do it ethically and to make sure that you have the means and the funds to actually
And
do
I-
what your city's going to do.
And I can't remember exactly where it's at, but I've seen some of them, and the reason they have come up is because of trees and the roots coming up. So not only do you remove the panel and put new, but first you've got to take the tree roots out, and may entail taking the whole tree, I don't know.
Sure.
So, yeah, there's a lot involved in that.
It's sticky, it's tough.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay, anyone else?
A quick question on that, removing a tree. If we had to remove, the roots from the tree were causing the sidewalk to come up, and the tree is on the homeowner's property, what's the protocol for that? 'Cause
That's something I need to research, to be honest with you. Some municipalities have, it's saying if the tree, if damage is caused by a tree in the right of way, it falls on the city. However, some other municipalities say it's still a homeowner's responsibility. I just haven't got that far in the code yet.
that would just be, a real shocker to say you have to fix your sidewalk and we need to cut down your maple tree and stick you with the bill for it.
Sure. And our code is, some of it's very vaguely written, because I think it was copied and pasted from other municipalities when they were writing it. So if this is not addressed, and it's something that you as a council are going to decide what we're going to do with these trees in the right of way, whose responsibility is it? If it doesn't say it in our ordinances, and Miguel, correct me if I'm wrong, then we would default to the ORCs.
That's correct.
That's correct, so.
So you're also saying right of way is from the sidewalk to the curb? Is that what you're speaking of when you say right of way?
The easement, isn't it?
From the side, edge of their sidewalk to the curb, yes.
Sidewalk
To the street, yeah.
Well, let me,
Yes, sir, go ahead.
question. Okay, if someone's walking down my sidewalk, and it's like this, and they trip and fall, and they get hurt seriously, who's responsible? Me? Homeowner? Okay, then regardless of whose tree it is, if it's on my property doing, I'm responsible for the whole deal, right?
Well, I mean, I would assume that would depend on where our code states who's responsible.
Okay, okay.
I mean, if it says, like, if there's a tree in the right of way of the city, I would assume
the city may need help.
Right, I would think so. And that's what I was getting at. If I'm responsible for someone getting hurt on it, then I should be responsible for taking care of it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Council? Anyone? Thank you, sir. Good report.
Excellent.
I did want to go back to the garage sale signs. We are open to any suggestions of another way of doing it. So if you have another suggestion on how we can approach these signs, let us know, because, you know, we can always change the ordinance.
They're ugly. During the summer, there's tons and tons of them, because they're absolutely ugly.
Well, I think the other issue was not just aesthetics, but a safety concern, wasn't it? 'Cause if you pull up on a road, you may not be able to see an oncoming car, I believe was one of the safety issues.
Okay, then, fire discussion, Chief Phillips.
Thank you, Mrs. Jones, Mr. Mayor, members of council, and the public. March 2014 responses are as follows. The New Carlisle Fire Division responded to a combined total of 93 calls for service during the month of March 2014. Fire responses totaled 18 with an average response time of 5 minutes 48 seconds. The division responded to 75 emergency medical calls for service with an average response time of 5 minutes 11 seconds. Elizabeth Township statistics are as follows. Elizabeth Township Fire and EMS responded to a combined total of 18 calls for service during the month of March 2014. Fire responses totaled 3, and emergency medical responses totaled 15. There were 16 responses made into the Township of Elizabeth and 2 into the City of New Carlisle. Some significant events. I spoke about the fire at 175 Sunrise Terrace last meeting. The fire was confined to that apartment, and there were no residents displaced other than the apartment occupant. We did have a gas leak at 602 Spinning Road. A cable contractor drilled in the back of the gas meter. We were able to mitigate that gas flow by shutting off the valve, and there was no hazards to the neighbors or the homeowner. We did respond mutual aid in the Bethel, Miami on Dayton Brant Road. I know the address isn't there, but it was a Dayton Brant Road fire for a furnace on fire. We had a good combined effort between both Bethel's, our department, and Elizabeth Township to bring that fire under control quickly. That was actually Bethel, Miami's fire. And backing up a little bit on 3/4/14, we did have an odor investigation behind the BMV at the auto repair facility that's right connected to the building. They had left a battery on a charger overnight and it boiled the battery out, filling the building up with sulfide gas. So we ventilated the building and there was no issues there. As far as that goes, that's all I have, and I'll entertain any questions.
Council? Yes.
Sir, what's the status of the fire hose that was run over?
I've got an estimate on the price, and I've sent the homeowner a bill. The fire hose automatically fails according to NFPA rule if it gets run over by a car. I did confirm that with our hose testing company that was in here this week, and so the resident's been given the bill.
But right now, we have enough in reserve.
Oh, sure,
to handle
yeah.
any problems.
I have plenty of extra, so missing that one section is not going to hurt us at all.
Thank you.
Yes.
Anyone else? Mr.
How much is the bill? How much does it cost you to run over a fire hose?
Almost $600. And that was one section of 5-inch hose.
Thank you.
Oh, good idea not to run over.
Yes, I would think.
Council? Over here, anyone? Questions? Chief Phillips, thank you. Thanks for your report. Appreciate it.
Okay, then on to the police discussion. Sergeant Underwood.
Thank you, Ms. Jones, Mayor, Council, audience. For March, the New Carlisle deputies, the reports they took, there were 14. Park County deputies took 29 reports, and the total for the city in March was 43. The deputies patrolled 2,967 miles, handled 164 miscellaneous calls, and follow-up investigations, they had 32. Under traffic information, traffic stops 25, citations issued 18, OVI arrest, we had none, driving under suspension 1, parking citations, there were 15, abandoned vehicle tows, none, non-injury accidents 4, and injury accidents 2. Under arrest information, criminal adult arrest, we had 4, criminal adult charges, there were 4, criminal juvenile arrest, we had 1, and criminal juvenile charges, there was 1. We had 4 warrant arrests, and warrants filed, we had 1. Special interest, we had no assaults. Breaking and entering, we did not have any. Thefts, there were 8. Vandalism, 0. 911 hangups, there were 10. Phone harassments, none. Domestic violence with an assault, none. Domestic violence verbal was none. Lockouts, there were 3. Peace officer calls, we had 1. Alarms, 3. And assist, there were 60. The Clark County Sheriff's Criminal Investigation Unit has been working on the 3 business break-ins at 412 North Main Street. That's commonly called the Bovo's Service Center. Criminal investigation detectives and New Carlisle deputies were able to identify suspects from a video security camera. Currently, 1 arrest has been made, and the suspect has been charged with 3 counts of breaking and entering and 1 count of criminal damaging. This incident is still under investigation by the Clark County Sheriff's Office, and we hope to make a 2nd arrest here soon. The Clark County Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigation Division and New Carlisle deputies are working on several drug complaints and crimes in and outside the city of New Carlisle. Like always, if you have any information regarding a drug complaint, any other crime, please contact the Clark County Sheriff's Office. It's a 937 number, 328-2560. And we're starting our crime watches up again in May, and that will be May 14th at 6:30 p.m. right here at the Shelter House. And it looks like we'll have one of our investigating units that has worked in New Carlisle. I'm sure a lot of you know Ron Fader. He's going to come back and do some crime watches for us. So I encourage you, since he works in investigations, to attend the meeting. It gives you a chance to ask him specific questions about the concerns you have in your neighborhood. He's patrolled the streets up here for years. He's well aware of what goes on, and now he has some hard online facts to give you. So if you haven't been to a Crime Watch meeting, please try to attend one. They're very informative. We like to keep them within an hour, and then you can be on your way. With that, I will entertain any questions that anyone has.
Council, questions?
I had a question.
Oh,
Sorry.
It's okay, no.
You're so fast.
Yeah. How many miles would you say are in our cruisers on average?
Miles on average,
See Deputy White smiling.
You had 97? How many would we just log on yours?
My cruiser at this point has 77,680. That's 2008.
We have a couple with 90,000 and one pretty close to that range.
On average, daily patrols anywhere between 60 miles to 110, depending on service calls.
All right. Thank you.
Mr. McIntyre.
I apologize. I like the sound of my own voice, so I talk whenever I can. The drug take-back box where people could drop off the prescription medication, I know we had some discussions on whether or not it was feasible to bring that back. Has there been any new developments with that?
I kind of decided to wait till we get to a permanent sheriff's office where we can have it inside and it's more secure. They won't have the worry of having it.
The staffing issue?
Right. Sergeant Underwood and I have talked about this, and we thought, don't you agree, or isn't that what we kind of concluded, that since we're pretty close to that point, so instead of pushing the issue with the prosecutor's office, just to lay low and move forward once we have a permanent place to do it.
If someone has drugs they want to dispose of, feel free to call our office. We will do the best we can, depending on what activity we have at the time, to make arrangements so you can dispose of those drugs. Also, it's my understanding that it's a good possibility that the Sheriff's Department is working on a mobile drop-off point, and I'll try to get more information on that for you. So that's exciting also.
Mr. Graybacher, you have a question?
Yes, just 2 questions. One is to talk about the drug drop-off. Isn't there a national prescription drug drop-off? Kim's, yes.
I saw it in the paper, but I couldn't tell you what day.
Yeah, I saw it on Channel 7.
It wasn't mentioned locally. I don't know if we were participating or not.
Yeah, that was my question. Are we participating in that? And number 2 is, could you give me an example? It says miscellaneous calls 164. What's a miscellaneous call? Can you give me just a couple examples?
Oh, a barking dog, could be suspicious activity, that we check. An extra patrol, a lot of people call in. They may be on vacation, they may be out of town, want to do an extra patrol.
Okay.
That's just a few examples. There's quite a few, actually.
Well, that's a good thing. You know, if somebody's going on vacation, is it a good idea to call the sheriff department to have them do an extra patrol?
Yes, you can call our dispatch number, and that's the 328-2560 number, and let them know that you're going to be on vacation, but be prepared to answer a few questions. They're going to want to know if someone's going to visit the residence, if someone's going to take in the mail, so we will know what's going on when we check the residence.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else over here, this side? Sergeant?
I just wanted to remind everybody that prescription medications cannot be dropped off at the firehouse. We have that problem on a pretty regular basis. We place a sign on the front door, but we don't accept any prescription medications at all.
Thank you. Thank you, Sergeant. Appreciate the report.
Thank you.
Under informational, in your packet, you had 2 months of Clark County Combined Health District monthly reports. Also in your packet was a letter from Time Warner Cable concerning their government access channel. Many of you watching this tonight, or actually you'll be watching it tomorrow night, since it's shown on Tuesday night, are aware that currently Time Warner has a government access channel where we are allowed to run our council meetings. Starting June 3rd, they will no longer have that offered to us. They're saying it's because their equipment has become outdated and they're not able to replace it. So we will not be on TV anymore. However, Jason is working with getting a YouTube link so that our council meetings will all be shown on YouTube. For those of you who use the computers at the New Carlisle Library, the patron computers, they are going to have it saved as a favorite, the link to go to the YouTube so that you can see the council meetings. And once our website is updated, and we're still working on that, but we will have a link on the website also so that you can just click on it and be able to go to the YouTube link. So that's kind of disappointing, but we don't really have a choice on that as far as the Also in your package,
Yeah, excuse me.
No, I'm sorry, I thought she was done. I'll wait till she's done.
I have a question.
For the transportation.
We do have a question.
Yeah, I did. Is it going to be able to archive, are we going to be able to archive the YouTube?
YouTube never release videos.
Yeah, so they can go back weeks versus Time Warner only shows up that one particular week. So that's a good.
Right. I'm just concerned about people who maybe don't have computers, but they can use them at the library for free. So they do have that.
Okay.
In your packet also was a flyer from the Transportation Coordinating Committee, and it just lists the 2014 ODOT construction schedule for Clark County. 3 out of the 8 projects will affect New Carlisle residents. So we talked about these in the past, but I wanted to bring them up again just to make you aware as you're driving around the county. You may come upon I don't remember seeing this construction in the area in a long, long time. But the project, the roundabout out at 235 and Route 41, they will be beginning in May on that project. And that traffic will be maintained. However, that is going to be a problem through September, so that's quite a long time. They've already started on the project for the Mud Run, where they're replacing the bridge here just south of the fitness center. So they started early on that one. That one is to go through August. So since they started early, maybe they'll finish it or and that traffic is being maintained there too, which I'm grateful for that. So people don't have to go to Spark Road or Musselman or Pike or whatever. The last one that's going to be a major effect, I think, is the Spangler Road Bridge. And that's going to only be 2 months, so we'll just have to bear with it. But it is a rehabilitation of that bridge. They are going to try to maintain traffic, so maybe it won't be as bad as I'm envisioning, but I think that's going to be kind of bad. One thing I did want to mention too, I put it in your packets, but it was not listed on the management report. I saw an article in the paper, Springfield News and Sun, last week talking about the state issue 1, and I wanted to bring it to everyone's attention how critical that state issue 1 is for our city. That is a way for the state to be able to provide local money for us to be able to do road repairs, water repairs, and wastewater plant repairs. And I've gotten a printout that showed all the projects that they have done just in Clark County since this fund has started. And it's about a 6-page report with probably 30 projects on a page, so it's quite extensive. New Carlisle, since 1990 through today, we've received over $2,151,825 in grants. Free money. And then in that same time period, we've also received over $2,311,000 in loans, and most of those are zero interest loans, which help us to do, like some of the projects we've done with the wastewater treatment plant we just finished last year, road constructions where we've extended sewer lines, water plant expansion, that's just to name a few. But it is a very important issue. A lot of people weren't aware of what it means. It's, they're not talking about it a lot, but it is not new money. It's not going to be a tax increase. And I just wanted to bring it to your attention to let you know, we really hope that you'll support it, because if this stops, then a lot of our projects will stop too.
I've already voted, and it's on the ballot, and it is self-explanatory. If you'll just take the time to read it and realize that that's exactly what Kim is talking about. It's a way for money to come back to the community and to Clark County, of course.
Right, and that's the end of my report. I'd be glad to answer any questions.
Council. Anyone from city manager?
Yes.
Yes.
I want to go back to the Time Warner thing. Doesn't the city have a contract with Time Warner?
No, we used to have, it used to be a franchise that we had with them, but about 5 years ago, it became like a statewide franchise, so we don't deal directly with them anymore at all. So no, and that's partly why they're doing away with this. Before, when we had our franchise, that's why we were offering that, and now that it's at the state level, they don't have to.
It's kind of ridiculous that New Carlisle is supporting them all these years, and you pay high dollar for their service, high dollar for their service, and now they just want to say, heck with it, we're going to take it away. And that's horrible, because there's people out there that do not use computers, and they get it off of the TV, and it's just kind of sad that they did that they can't say, hey, we'll upgrade equipment and keep it up. Too bad there's no competition. There is none.
Mr. McIntyre.
Do you know, by perchance, on the Time Warner issue, if Springfield and Fairborn are also losing their access? Because I know I see both of them are on the
I would think, we take our tapes down to Dayton, right? So it's the same facility, they're closing out facilities.
There was an article in the paper that explained that all the communities are losing this service in the Clark County area. Not just Clark County, other areas too. It was in the Springfield paper.
Our church does the same thing, but on the bottom of it, they said you can call Miami Valley Communications, or Day TV. However, Day TV doesn't come to Springfield. It goes to Dayton.
There were a couple other options that they were hoping that might become available, but they won't be free. This is
Right.
free.
Oh,
So,
right. Yeah, same thing with our church. That's why we did it.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Any questions, city manager? Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, we're now at the comments from members of the public. Do we have someone that would like to speak tonight? We have somebody right behind you to start with. Go ahead, sir, if you would. Would you go up to the podium? Yes, sir, you. Up to the podium.
Just stand here, it's about the same. I can't figure out.
There's a microphone up there. If you would go to the podium, that's why. Thank you. And if you would announce your name and your address, please.
John Schweitzer, Galewood Drive. I have AT&T U-verse. It's got a government access channel. If you want to program it, I mean, there's nothing on it.
There's nothing playing on it?
No. And it says right in my channel guide, local government access channel. and it comes with every package. So,
Thank you for that.
and another thing, I hadn't even thought of till you brought up sidewalks. Since the sidewalks belong to the city, why isn't the city responsible for them?
They belong to the resident, that homeowner.
No, they don't. If you get your county plots, my property line ends before the sidewalk. The sidewalk and the easement are not my property. And that's available to anybody to look at through the Clark County engineering and all the
I'll let our law
plots.
director address that.
Your property line technically ends at the edge of the sidewalk closest, I'll say, to the center of the lot or the house. But under state law, the right-of-way for the sidewalk and actually even to the gutters, I believe, are the responsibility of the people who have frontage on that road to maintain. So that's just state law.
I downloaded the property lines, and it shows very clearly that the sidewalk's not on my property.
It's not on your property.
Or
but
anybody's property in the neighborhood.
That's correct, but we still have a legal obligation to maintain.
I mow your grass between the sidewalk and the street.
Which you have to do.
And we thank you for that. Okay, anyone else, please? Go ahead, please.
I'm going to say you could afford it, the city couldn't afford it. I can't either.
I know, that's the problem.
Carol Bellhorn, 200 Constant Avenue, and I'm speaking as a member of the New Carlisle Crime Watch, and I thank Sergeant Underwood for his comments and for the whole Sheriff's Department. They've been most supportive over the years that we've been trying to do this. And he said a good bit of the things that I was going to say, but one other thing that I would like to request is that a council member come to each of our meetings. Doesn't have to be the same person every month, but if you could set up some kind of rotation where one of you would be at our meetings every month, I think that would be great. We would certainly appreciate it. And I too would encourage everybody in the city to come to our meetings. Those of us who come are almost all from the same area, and we'd be so much more effective if the whole city were covered, because it is a New Carlisle crime watch.
Carol, before you leave there, council, that's something that she had talked with us previous. You go now, how does council feel about that we try and do a rotation of going to this meeting? It's once a month, is that correct?
Once a month, it's
Once a
always
month.
the second Wednesday of the month.
And you're definitely looking for other members to come to find out what can be done on New Carlisle Crime Watch.
Right.
Is that correct?
And we do a lot of things. The deputies who have been involved with us have given a lot of informative presentations on all kinds of things, drugs and protection of your home, self-protection, what to do when you're going on vacation, how to make sure that your house is safe, just all kinds of things. And it's really a worthwhile group. So,
Thank you.
we'd love to see more.
Mr. Lowry's volunteered to go to the next one. And council, does that sound like something that we should do and try and alternate with that? We could maybe set up a schedule with that to see if we can do that. That would work for everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for getting up and speaking. Tom, you said something, please. Good job.
My name is Tom Allender. I live at 610 Terra Court in New Carlisle. I want to talk about the sidewalk situation. I have quite a few rentals, and I've been involved with this in Springfield and in Dayton. And that's expensive to do. And sure my name's probably on that list, because I have quite a few properties in town here. But like Springfield, they'll have a list of contractors that'll give you a deal to get these, because they'll pour a whole bunch at one time. Some of them will give you 90 days, same as cash. I mean, this is a big help. Now, the way it sounds to me, you're just going to dump out a whole bunch on people to begin with and see if they do it. Is that correct?
If they have a plan to do, the second round.
So if they don't, we're going to get a threatening letter that's going to be on our taxes.
Never heard that.
Not going into that, just to bring your attention, because economic analysts have been marked with a red X.
And if we don't do it, then we can wait till you get a group of people, so we can get together with a group.
If you don't do it, then we'll go back and we'll finish out our program. It's very in the infant stages as far as full implementation.
Well, it's a lot easier because these concrete contractors will give you a deal if they can do it, because they're going to make money. Or they can pour a lot of sidewalk in one day.
Yeah.
And Springfield, I just got a letter from Springfield 2 weeks ago. They're going around again this year in Springfield, so I may get a letter in there too. But they have a whole group of people you can work with, and it's really cost efficient if you can do that. Same with your gutters.
When it comes down to either you doing it or the city doing it, there will be a fully developed program with the contract.
The city, they don't, they've checked these people out. They're creditworthy people. They get the names. You call them. You set it up yourself with these contractors. You do get a lot better deal. I can do this, but it's a big job for it.
Mr. Allen, could you share the contractors that they give you?
Well, they'll give you a list.
Right, that's what I'm asking. Would you mind sharing that with Mr. Bridges when the time comes? Because that's basically what I said, the same thing. If we could get a group of people together, because as you well know, you can't get a truck in to take care of things.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper.
Right.
And we had discussed, that too, especially in our service area, and how do we do it involved. Like I said, part of the day was just to get the data to the council, let them know that's moving forward. Step one, there's going to be plenty of other steps going to go on step one.
Okay. I hope I'm down the road, I'm not in step one. Even alphabetically.
Yeah.
Thank you for your input. We appreciate it. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone who'd like to speak? Okay. Continue on. Any committee reports tonight?
None tonight.
Okay. Mr. Collier, would you mind reading resolution, please?
Resolution 14-04R, a resolution acknowledging the sidewalk replacement program in the city of New Carlisle, Ohio.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Zambo.
move we adopt resolution 14-04R.
Second. And Mr. Okay. Fast people.
Okay, this is the program that we have been talking about tonight, and actually, Mr. Kipko and I were in an ODOT training meeting a couple weeks ago, and we were talking with one of the people that work at ODOT, and they suggested that we do this. A lot of times, for example, when we did the bike trail, we had to do a lot of easements, not permanent easements, but temporary easements. If you want to set a shovel in somebody's yard, you have to get a temporary easement. So you can imagine trying to do sidewalk repair without stepping into somebody's yard. You would have to be, it would just slow the process down a whole lot. So by doing this, setting up a program, we would be allowed to step into somebody's yard to help work on the sidewalks without having to do easements. And basically, that was the number one thing, but just also to give us the authority to be able to assess problems if we do the repairs. So, the timing was perfect because we were working on the sidewalk program and then we were talking about this. So I, that day, drafted a resolution and sent it to the gentleman at ODOT. He looked it over to make sure it had everything in it that they wanted to have in it, and then the gal looked pretty good. So that's what we are.
Yes, sir.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
In most cases in the city, if I call a contractor to my residence to do some work, he has to have a permit. Does he have to have a permit to do this?
You have to get a permit from the city to put in a sidewalk.
That's what I'm talking about.
Plumbers have to have a license to work in the city. But as far as contractors, they have to have a license.
But will he have to have a permit from the city to do these sidewalks?
But, we have
How much is that permit?
$20 that
It will be waived? Okay, that was gonna be my next question. Thank you.
Double Councilmember.
Any other questions? You call for the vote, sir?
Yes.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, Alex.
No, I
Like,
think
John, you've been working on this forever.
I'm excited about it.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Zampa?
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds?
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Picco. That's helpful. All right. If you would go ahead with the ordinances now, please.
Ordinance 14-14, public hearing and action tonight. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Miami Valley Lighting LLC for street lighting services for use on public grounds and streets of the city of New Carlisle.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Zama.
move we adopt ordinance 14-14.
Second.
I beat you that time.
No, you can have it.
Mr. Fraylock.
Okay, this is just a routine renewal of a contract we have for the citywide street lighting, and this is for 5 years. The Valley Lighting, it's just one contract with DPL for the generation of the electric and for the street lighting. Now we have 2 separate.
Council, any questions? Mr. Collier, would you call for the vote?
Mr. Mike Lowry.
Yes.
Mayor McLaughlin.
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre.
Yes.
Mr. Zampa.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Mr. Rick Lowry.
Yes.
Mr. Craybar.
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
If our hair starts standing up straight, we'll know they're too fast.
Tops up.
All right, sir, would you go with the next ordinance?
Ordinance 14-15, public hearing and action tonight. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a lease agreement with Rico Americas Corporation for the leasing of a copier for use at the sheriff's substation.
Mr. Mayor, move we adopt ordinance 14-15.
Second.
As you all know, this is our second attempt at trying to get a copier for the sheriff's substation. After our last meeting, I contacted our sales rep. I was given several more sheets to look at. I also checked with someone who sells copiers for them and had them look over the proposals that I had gotten. This is basically a scaled-down version of the first option that we looked at a couple meetings ago. There is no stapler. The differences are the speed and the capacity, which in my opinion is like the efficiency of the machine. So the machine still will do what the original machine would do. It's just not as fast or and not the same capacity. But I talked to Sergeant Underwood about this, and he felt that the deputies would be able to get by, that this would be one that they could still use and get their job done. So, and their cost is lower.
Council, any questions?
I was hoping that you'd be able to bring it in for about $700, but I know I was hoping.
As long as you give mine $700 a year, probably.
Thank you for your effort.
Mr. Collier, Mr. McIntyre.
When we last had this vote, after the vote was taken, I voted no because I felt the cost was too high. I was approached by several residents, and they told me, pardon my French, but I was an idiot for voting no, and particularly that the warranty itself was worth what we pay for it. So I was wondering, does this have the same warranty? Because that was important to residents.
Right, and it has a maintenance agreement also, which includes the toners, like the this. And there was some concern that this would be, because I was preferring to lease it instead of to purchase it outright, which the cost is lower. We could have done that, but I didn't want to use all of our money for the sheriff's office budget in April, and then we would still have the rest of the year left with the budget spent. They have other things that we need to be looking at for the sheriff's office, laptops, cameras, and if we lease it, we are able to budget for the money this year and get more things purchased this year than just the copy. So that was, in the long run, it's a little bit more expensive, but I think for our budget, that's what we have to do.
Right, I'm glad that we both, because the cost is way down from what we had before, so I'm glad that we're able to reach a compromise on that, and I do hope this, even with that compromise, we're not sacrificing our ability for our law enforcement to do their job. As you indicated, maybe a bit slower, we can still do it, as long as the maintenance and everything is there, so, thank you.
Mr. Jones, does it have, other than the stapler, does it have all the other capabilities like the remote printing from a remote location?
Networking and color scan.
Everything except for the stapler?
That's what the representative told me, it was exactly the same, other than the capacity and the speed.
Mr. or Sergeant Underwood, are you satisfied with that printer, this model?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Cradle.
I just want to say we're not a copier business, so speed shouldn't make a whole lot of difference. And I'm
What makes you more efficient?
Absolutely.
Since somebody copies a lot, faster it is, believe me.
But how many copies does the sheriff department actually do? You know, I mean,
I don't know the exact number of it.
I know you don't. And, but, however, you know, I like this contract. You know, Lowell and I were talking, you know, off-key, you know, before the meeting, and I know I sent emails around and everything, what my thoughts were. So, and he showed me what it was before, what it is now, and I think it was $2,800.
About 3,000.
Yeah, difference. So, yeah, you did a good. Yeah, you don't have to, you know, that's not really that important. Just only the people know that we're trying to look after their money.
27 versus 5,000.
Yeah, so you did a good job.
Mr. Lauer.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions, and you're right. Speed is efficiency, and I'd like to ask Sergeant Underwood, is there a big difference
In the copier?
in the speed?
In the
And,
speed?
you know, I know you sat there and said, yeah, you can live with it, but is it what you wanted?
Yes, that'll work, it'll be fine.
Okay, it'll work.
But I would like to point out one thing. We're not buying a new piece of equipment. We are replacing a piece that we've had, I believe, Mr. Jones, for 7 years.
Right.
And we need to do something about some other equipment, or we're going to find ourselves needing a large amount of equipment at one time. That's what we're trying to get away from. We're not buying anything or purchasing anything new to add on. We're just trying to replace what we have that's old or non-functional or broken.
Thank you. I do have something to say about this stuff. I hope it is as good. I'm not convinced that it is. I found out a long time ago, like you pay what you get what you pay for, and that kind of has me concerned. And I hope it does work out, and I hope it does save the city money, and I hope it saves the citizens money. Since I've been on council, I've always tried to look and save money the best way it was and get rid of any tax. I'm still upset over the license plate tax, but I can't win that battle, so we'll go on. But I guess, with all due respect to you, Mr. Zambach, and everybody else that voted no on this, the thing that really surprised me was, I don't know copiers. I don't know how many other people know copiers. At that same meeting, we praised Richard for the job he did, and we trusted him for going out and spending our money. We praised the city manager for spending our money. And over the last couple of years, we spent $50,000 on police cars. We spent close to $1 million on a fire truck, and I've not heard one question asked. Wait a minute, can we get this cheaper someplace else? But when we come up on a $3,000 copier, we question every person's second, and that kind of upsets me. You know, it's a good thing. It's the double-edged sword. It's great that we save money. I'm not convinced that we've saved money at the end of 5 years when it's up and it hasn't broke down and run as good as the other one has for 12 years. Then I'll say we saved money, but I'm not sure we have as of yet. But once again, with all due respect to you, you know, he was looking out for us, but I'm just not quite sure. But I hope the next time we buy $1 million fire truck, or a $50,000 car, or a $30,000 camera, or whatever, that we hear some questions and say, wait a minute, there's nowhere we can get one cheaper. And I hope that happens, because we have sat here all these years and that has never been said. Yeah, go out and buy it. And you know what? Because we didn't know a thing about it. And we
Thank you,
trusted
sir.
someone else.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, Mr. Collier, call for the vote, please.
Just as the next few ordinances are just introductions tonight, I'll go through those right.
We need to call for the vote, please.
Sorry.
Not a problem.
Mr. Reynolds,
Yes.
Mr. Rick Lauer,
Once again, not that I don't think that saving money is a good idea. I do, for myself, for the city, for you people sitting there. But from what I see and what I've read, I am not convinced that it is the printer that we looked at the first time, and therefore I will vote no.
Mr. Whitehall,
Yes.
Mayor McLaughlin,
Did we get Mr. Craybacher, or did I miss?
Yeah, you missed me, that's all right.
Shut up, John, please.
It's happened to me.
We'll get there.
You were in front of me. Yes.
I got Mr. Mike Larry, Mr. Mayor McLaughlin,
Yes.
Mr. McIntyre,
Yes.
Mr. Zambon,
Yes.
You got me already.
totally threw me out there.
Not a problem. What was the final time?
Pass 6.
Thank you. And you're going to read the next three, by next three?
This introduction.
Thank you.
Ordinance 1417, introduction tonight, public hearing and action on May 5th, 2014. An ordinance amending the fee for a sidewalk construction permit. Ordinance 14-18, introduction tonight, public hearing and action on May 5, 2014. An ordinance to authorize the city manager to enter into an agreement with Fizio Control Incorporated for technical service support. Ordinance 14-19, introduction tonight, public hearing and action on May 5th, 2014. An ordinance adding a new charter, 880, to the codified ordinances of the city of New Carlisle regarding the display of drug paraphernalia.
Now, if you go ahead for the other ordinance.
Ordinance 14-20E, public hearing and action tonight. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to submit an application for an Iowa Bureau of Workers' Compensation Safety Intervention Safety Grant and to execute all agreements necessary and appropriate and declaring an emergency.
Council.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
motion to adopt ordinance 14-20E.
Second.
And I'm going to let Mr. Pitko explain this ordinance from his department.
This will go as part of our meter upgrade project to radio reads. And just one day I was at the gym, the BWC rep had stated to me that they had safety grants for safety intervention. And that being is our normal guys walk around with a clipboard, handheld reader gun, and pretty much any type of weather. Well, I've had a gentleman, one of my workers, tear his MCL this winter, who will be out now in the next 4 weeks, starting tomorrow. So I worked on a grant that she had given me an application for $40,000 towards this project. And what this will do is they'll send us a check for $40,000 before we purchase anything. And then once we purchase equipment, the radio reads, we will use the $40,000 first, and that's what they want. We use their monies first, so then that will take our initial bid of $575,000 of our loan bid to come in. That will actually go down by $40,000. So yeah, it's just to help put safety first for this project. And the reason it's an emergency is obviously our project's due to start June 2nd, and they need to be able to cut us the check prior to project start date. That's it.
Council, questions? Anyone? Comments? Mr. Collier, call for the vote, please.
Mr. Rick Lowry,
Yes.
Mr. Craybacher.
Yes.
Mr. Mike Lowry,
Yes.
Mayor McLaughlin,
Absolutely.
Mr. McIntyre.
Yes.
Mr. Zandberg.
Yes.
Mr. Reynolds.
Yes.
Pass 7-0.
And if you would read the next four, actually, if you would, please. Yes, please, if you would.
Ordinance 14-21, introduction tonight, public hearing on May 5th, 2014. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute a memorandum of understanding concerning an extended seasonal employee. Ordinance 14-22, introduction tonight, public hearing and action on May 5, 2014. An ordinance authorizing the city manager to execute a memorandum of understanding concerning the donation of sick leave. Ordinance 14-23, introduction tonight, public hearing and action on May 5th, 2014. An ordinance to authorize the city manager to enter into a lease agreement with the Board of Education of the Council Local School District for the leasing of property in the city of New Carlisle for recreational purposes. Ordinance 14-24, introduction tonight, public hearing and action on May 5th, 2014. An ordinance authorizing the subleasing of a parcel of property from the city of New Carlisle, Ohio to the New Carlisle Cubs Football Association.
If you, I do have one comment, if you would. On our other businesses in the future, could we put on the New Carlisle, or you've already asked, just put that up. We could add that from now on to that, please. Other business before we go on. Is there other business tonight? Council, anyone? Anyone out here? Any other business tonight before we continue? Mr. Collier, if you'd read the rest. I'm sorry, Mr. Zambach, yes.
We should announce to our visitors, anybody who needs a signature on a card, anybody on this side of the table all the way around can sign it for you when the meeting's over.
Mr. Collier, if you go ahead on the rest now.
City offices will be closed on Memorial Day, Monday, 5/26/14. There will be a joint government meeting Monday, June 30th, 2014 at 6:30 p.m. at Tecumseh High School. There'll be a council work session next Monday night, 28th, at 6:30 p.m. here at Smith Park Shelter.
If I could interrupt you for one moment. That work session is open to the public also. If you need any more hours or anything, if you'd like to attend, that would be fine, and we would sign something for you at that point. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'd like to point out that the work session is to discuss the possible police levy, and we would like citizen input.
Right. Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
There'll be the Memorial Day walk, Saturday, 5/24. It starts at noon from the Howard's IGA parking lot. And there'll be a community cleanup, which will be Saturday, 5/31. It's from 8 a.m. to noon at the old Westlake School property. And I've added the New Carlisle Crime Watch meeting, May 14th at 6:30 p.m. here at Smith Park Shelter House.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry?
No, just before you're done.
Well, before I say that, go ahead.
I got a suggestion. We got a bunch of students in here again. Are you, all of you, just about done with your hours? Tonight we'll finish it? Just about? Okay. I suggest, Lowell, that we refuse to sign. And we bring them back on Saturday, 5/3/14, 8 a.m. to noon to help unload all the junk in the trash. And we'll sign them on that day.
That's 4 hours.
We'll give you 4 hours.
We could definitely use the help, believe me.
Are they still in school on Thursday?
Yeah.
But if you can come out and help us, come out and help us. I'm just joking with you. We're going to sign it, but, you know, we'd love to see you out there and help us old guys. We can't pick up your trash cans anymore.
He's obviously not up for re-election this year.
I'm talking about me and Lowell.
Oh, okay. The executive session tonight is none. I would ask for a...
Mr. Mayor, I move we adjourn.
We're adjourned. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate it.